right, you guys, so it is time for us to measure for our fabric. We've crocheted our front piece the size we want our pillow cover. And so now we want to pay attention to the width of our crochet piece, okay? So with the width of it, so this one is 19 inches wide and 14 inches long, okay? And so what we're going to do is you want to take your width and you want to divide that by 2. And so when I did that, I got 9.5, which is 9.5. Then you want to add 2, and that gave me 11.5, which is 11.5. So I want to cut 2 pieces of fabric 11.5 by 14 by 14. Okay, so and I want to cut 2 of those pieces. Okay, I'm gonna say it again just in case I said it too fast. But you want to divide your width by 2. Then once you get that number, you want to add 2, and that will give you your number that you need to cut out 2 of your panels for your backing, which is an envelope style. Okay, so all right, you guys, so we have our 3 pieces. We have our crochet piece, then we have our 2 panels, and we have our 2.5-inch strip. So the last time you saw me, we just had the 2 panels that I cut out. So I cut out the 2.5-inch strip, and it's an easy way of measuring this. You just want to take your 2.5 strip. Now I needed 2 to go around, so I sewed that together. And so you just want to take it around your crochet piece, all the way around, just folding it there, coming, taking it all the way around, and then back again like that. And leave when you, if you have some fabric that's hanging over, leave that and you can cut that at the end, okay? And so once you do that, once you measure your binding for your pillow cover, now we want to prep it. And we want to prep our 2 panels, and we want to prep our 2.5-inch strip. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to bring in my iron. And so with the iron, you want to just fold this in half, okay? And you want to fold it on wrong side to wrong side, like that. And you just want to press. And you want to press it all the way down. And so it's going to look like this, okay? And you want to press that all the way down, and you want to set that aside. Then you want to get your 2 panels, and you want to slide that over. Once you have your 2 panels, you want to bring in your crochet piece, and you want to place it on the right side, okay? So you place it on the right side. I'm sorry, we want to place it on the wrong side. If we were flipping it out, we would put it on the right side. But since we are putting a binding around it, we want to put it on the wrong side, okay? And you want to audition your fabric pieces, your panels, on your crochet piece, like that. And you just want to bring that over like that. And then you created this overlapping here, right? So you want to bring that over there. And it's okay that it's hanging off of the crochet piece, we know that our piece is stretch. So I'll show you how to do that when we get to the sewing machine. Okay, and you want to just do that. So now you see that it fits. Then once you see that, and if your fabrics are directional like mine is, I want all of my cherries to go in one area, all one way. So I am making sure of that. And once I get this fabric all situated, now I want to prep this. So right here, because we have fraying, I want to take, fold this over a little bit, probably like a quarter of an inch. I can fold that over and then just press that on this side. And then that'll go on that side. And then I will press, get this one and then press this on this side. Because what we're going to do, we're going to sew this. Let me get you an example so you can see what I'm talking about. So right here, this is our binding. And then you can see we're going to stitch that all the way around. And then right here, this is our binding. I'm sorry, this is our folding right here. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to stitch. Okay? So now, I'm just going to pin all the way around and tug and pin as I go. Just bring that piece up and pin that. So if you don't have any pins like these, safety pins, anything you can use to keep your fabric together, and pinning that down. And when you come over to the overlapping part, you want to just make sure everything is overlapped. You want to make sure you get all of this here. And you're going to just position and move things around and then just tug that crochet piece up where it meets your fabric. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and do this all the way around, just positioning and placing everything around, making sure everything is lined up, getting that piece, making sure, tugging that crochet up, and pinning and positioning. Okay, so I'm going to go do that all the way around, and I'll meet you guys. All right, you guys, so I have pinned all the way around, and I got a couple of tips for you. So this part right here, I put a pin in the middle of this right here. So when I am pinning around, it's not shifting. So I put my pin here. And another thing is that as you are going around, your fabric won't be perfect because you have yarn and fabric. So yarn is stretchable, fabric is not. But when you get to places where it might be a little too long, because as you're going around, just fold it in. What I did right here, I just folded this part in, and it's fine because remember, our binding is what's going to cover everything. Okay, so I am going to go sew this all the way around, and I'm going to come back and just remember, you can hand sew this. So hand sew this all the way around, and meet me back. Okay, so it is a very forgiving project. All right, so I'll be back when everything else is sewn around. All right, you guys, so I am all done sewing it all the way around. I was thinking when I got to this part at the bottom, I was thinking if you're going to hand stitch this, you can see I sewed it around and it's kind of wonky and kind of, you know, not perfect. That's because the binding is going to cover it up. But I was thinking when I got to this part here, if you are going to stitch this, hand stitch this down, you can fold all the way around and pin, fold it and then pin it all the way around. And then you can just stitch it onto your crochet piece. And it will be just so much easier to do it that way. So I was thinking about that as I was sewing that around. All right, you guys. So it is time to add our binding onto our cover, our pillow cover. So what I've done here already, I have pinned the binding down to the right side of our pillow cover. Okay. And so you want to pin all the way around. If you don't have these kind of pins, that's fine. You want to just use pins or something to hold it down to your crochet piece. Okay. Now I want to show you how to do a miter corner when you get to your corners. Okay. So I'm going to turn that. So if we're in the sewing machine or if you're hand stitching this way and you're going to come down to your corner and you want to stitch and you don't want to stitch all the way to your corner. You want to stop probably a quarter of an inch, probably right there. And once you bind off, if you're hand stitching, you could just tie it off. And if you're using a sewing machine, you can just back tack to lock that stitch in and then cut it off because you're going to start your miter corner right here. So I usually do it this way. I find that this is the easiest way to do this, okay? So I usually put my finger. Now, I usually put my finger here and then I'll go ahead and make the turn. Now, wherever you stopped or back tack, that is going to be the equivalent of your finger, okay? So it'll, hold it there. I'm just for demonstration purposes, I'm using my finger, okay? So you want to take that wherever you stop at, and then you want to take your fabric and you want to just, okay, I'm left-handed, so I'm gonna put it this way here, and you want to take it like you're making an L, okay? You want to do it just like that. So hopefully you can see that. So that would be your stitch here. And then you would just fold your fabric going to the right, okay? Then you would take your two fingers. This is the easiest way I can know how to do this. So to show you, you would take two of your fingers, you would hold that down right here, and then you would take your fabric and flip that over onto your fingers, okay? And then remove your fingers and press that down. And you have a miter corner. And this is what a miter corner, I'm gonna flip that up so you can see. And that's your miter corner, okay? Then you will continue to pin all the way down. Then you would get back right here to your corner and you would do it the same way. You would stitch it down, take your fabric. I know my hand is in the way. Take your fabric that way to the right, and then you will flip it over your two fingers, okay? Now, if you were on a sewing machine, you would start here, start at the top, and start stitching down. Because remember, you stopped right here and you cut it off. So after you cut it off, you make your miter, you will come in right here and start sewing down, okay? And you will leave this open for your flat because we're going to turn that over when it's time to, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and put the binding on all the way, and then I'll show you what we're going to do after that because we're going to just flip it over and then sew it. but I'm going to show you what that looked like. Guys, so I'm all back, and so I put the binding on. I don't remember if I told you to leave a tail. You want to leave because you're going to join this part right here. So you want to leave that a tail when you're starting, and of course when you're ending. You don't want to cut that off. And so you might be wondering what this piece is right here. So this piece was attached to here, and I cut this off. This is how you're going to measure your cut. So, but first I wanted to show you, this is that miter corner there that we did, how you stopped right here and then you came and start stitching right here. Okay, and so that's going to give you that where you want to turn that over, okay, when it starts stitching. So we're almost done. So you want to measure your piece. This is another easy way I think that might help. So this is a 2.5 inch piece. We folded it, used it for our binding. And so for the pillow cover, I usually just cut a piece off and I'll place it just like that on on the part that we started. And I will place that there. And then I'll take my long piece and Antoinette voice from the future. Right here in the video, you guys, I am showing you how to measure and cut. And the piece that is cut, open it all the way up to the 2.5 inch and then measure. Right here. Let me get my scissors. And so I am going to cut right here. And that's going to give me my measurement. So then after I cut it, then I want to open it up this way and then open that one this way as well, right? So we have them both open. Now we want to turn them right sides together. So you want to take your right side on this side and your right side on this side, and you want to sew that together, okay? Let me see if I had a pen. Let me get a pen so I can show you before I go sewing. So we have a pen here, and so you will take this side, your right sides together, and you will bring those together, and you will, so we're just going to play like I sewed this already. You will line it up and everything, and then we sewed it together, right? And so now, after you sew that together, it's going to fold back into itself. Well, we got a pen sticking up, but I'm sure you get it. And so once we sew it, it'll be perfect where you can just go ahead and finish stitching that. And then we can fold over. Here, I'll show up here. We can fold over and then we can start stitching, bringing that over and start stitching on this side here. And once we finish stitching, bringing our binding over and stitching on this side, we'll be done with our pillow cover, right? So I am going to go and finish doing this part right here. And then I am going to fold it over, sew it all together, and I'll be back when I'm done so I can show you my pillow cover. All right, you guys, so I am all done with the pillow cover, and I brought some friends in so you guys can see. We have that one, and then this is the back for this one. We have this one here, and this is the back for this one, and they have pillows in them. So this is mine. This is the backing, our envelope and all. And so all I need to do now is just order my pillow, okay? And so with the binding, I think we should change this to a 7/8 binding, because I was thinking if a new beginner was to try this project and have a 2.5 inch binding, they will struggle. So 2 7/8 is just a little bigger. So I don't want you struggling. So to take that binding around. So cut your binding at 2 7/8 and you should be okay. All right. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope that this was something, new for you that you would try. It's fun, it is different, and I love it. If you like what's going on my channel, consider subscribing, and I will see you on the next video.